Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Saturday, June 29th, 2019 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I listen to and nurture my natural flow. And it's going to be really important as we lead up to this eclipse to listen to nurture yourself in your natural flow. Natural flow versus we can get stuck in that whirlpool flow when we're following what society and everybody else wants for us. So this is about honoring that North Node in Cancer energy. What do you need to nurture yourself? How are you being called to participate and move through these energies at this time? So we have the moon today moving from Taurus into Gemini. So with Gemini, we really do enter that dark of the moon. Dark of the moon before the new moon. Dark of the moon before our solar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse on Tuesday. So this dark of the moon is going to carry some intensity. This dark of the moon in Gemini is going to require our conscious participation. Joe, I always ask for help with the energy mantra because I'm like, I get stuck here and then I don't record for a while because I'm like, I don't know what it is and I'm just listening. And what he brought forward was really great connection with that moon in Gemini energy. I am conscious of my reflection and I make adjustments accordingly. Be conscious of the reflections that are showing up for you this weekend, whether it's mental thinking reflections, whether it is reflections on that emotional level, whether it's reflections of somebody taking care of their needs, whether it's somebody not taking care of their needs. Be very aware of that because that's going to help shift you. Everything's a sign, nothing's a sign and everything's a sign. We're in this amazing choreographed dance and animals and other people and feathers and signposts and all kinds of things. They show up to help direct us at all times. So be aware of how the universe is trying to direct you because it's trying to help you get into your personal flow. That being said, after the moon does shift into Gemini at 2:09 p.m. Pacific time, the first meeting is with Mercury. Mercury in Leo, now at 2 degrees. Mercury preparing for its retrograde, and Mercury saying, and find and mirror those things that light up that heart consciousness for you. Again, that's going to be really nurturing for you, and that's so the name of the game right now. In addition to this, we have Mars finishing up in Cancer. Mars is going to move into the sign of Leo, yay, on Monday. And so with Mars moving into Leo, or actually as Mars finishes up in Cancer, we want to make sure that we are taking action that nurtures us, action that supports our feelings, action that supports this deepest part of ourselves. So be very aware of that. Mars right now is at 28 degrees. That's that degree of knowing your worth. So show up for yourself as if you're worthy. Speaking of worth, before the moon shifts into Gemini, going back just a little bit, we have the moon finishing up in Taurus. Moon in Taurus reminds us to bring our feeling consciousness to that worth energy and also to participating with our senses in the world. Speaking of Mars, we have the moon in Taurus connecting with Mars at that 28 degrees. How do you show up in the world as if you love yourself? How do you move if you show up in the world as if you love yourself? How do you eat if you show up in the world as if you love yourself? What kind of people do you surround yourself if you show up in the world like you love yourself? Take that kind of action. So whether that means I love myself so I'm staying in bed, or I love myself so I'm going out to nature to be in the flowers, or I love myself so I'm going to the club to dance, like that. How do you show up like you love yourself? How can you take that action? That will, again, be very supportive of you being in your own personal natural flow. Speaking of worth consciousness, Moon in Taurus is also connecting with Pluto. Again, it's moving really fast. This is a trine. It is that 22-degree master level energy, though. And just like I said yesterday, grinding in, nightclub on the brain, grounding into the earth to help support these transformations that are happening at this time. Grounding into the earth to feel supported in the processes that you are personally moving through at this time. Take a little time just to do that grounding in and realize we're all going through some level of transformation with these eclipses incoming. All right, so cards, participation. I always call this card the body, mind, spirit, soul, heart card. Make sure you're connecting with all of those things. And again, be very aware of the reflections on all of these levels. Oh, God, so many cards, so many interesting things. I have the fighting card, and I have the politics card right next to it. And, geez, there's a lot of that going on right now after the Democrat convention and all of those things. Or the speeches, not the convention, sorry, the speeches. What would I say about this? You know, these energies, they're so emotional. They do bring up a lot of fighting energies. I would say be very aware of being true to yourself. You don't have to put on masks. You also don't have to engage in that fighting energy. Again, what's going to nurture you at this time? How are you going to show up best for yourself at this time? I always believe it's really good to speak up, but just be very aware of those masks. Be aware of those masks that may be reflected of you. Here's something. This is interesting. I remember working with my mentor a long time ago, and she was like, I was telling her something, some sordid piece of my past. Not that sordid, but some painful energy. She's like, you're smiling as you are telling me this. She's like, why are you smiling? This is clearly a very painful thing. And I was like, I don't know, I just smile all the time. I like to smile. Smile's my favorite. I'm like Buddy the Elf. Anyway, but that was a mask that I had put on to deal. We do these things. Our emotions are kind of, here we go, fighting to come out at this time, to be valued, to be heard. You don't have to wear the mask. You don't have to put on the smile. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to have your feelings. And I think we need to remind ourselves of this over and over and over again. Last two cards, laziness. Take it easy on yourself. We are processing so much. And if, again, that means staying in bed, if that is something you are able to do, please take it easy on you and don't beat yourself up for it. And finally, the dream card in reverse. It may not necessarily feel good right now. It may not necessarily feel like your dreams are coming true, but this unwinding, it's helping. It is helping us move forward. So don't lose sight of the dream. Take care of yourself in this moment, but realize these things are coming about, and a lot of this clearing away will help and support that. So, you can always book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. I realize so many of you guys emailed me this week, and this week has just been very, very busy, as well as crazy technology things, so I will be getting back to you. Take a second. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful that we're winding in closer to this eclipse, because sometimes that build-up, it's so intense. Besides that, take a moment. I always said, what are you grateful for? No, what is next? The better it gets, the better it gets. Brain fart. Getting ready for Mercury retrograde. You have the power, and there is more than enough love in the world for you. Namaste.